This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you, supporting us at patreon.com/AwesomeCast. Time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the AwesomeCast. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the social medias here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, ready to talk tech with you. Now, we are time shifting a little bit. We're actually recording this on Wednesday night, the 2nd. It'll be coming out at your usual time. So we're just doing kind of a short episode, a touch base. So there's something out there in the feed. So we're still talking to you guys and, come go with what's going on. And also with me from the iPhoneography podcast is Dave Podnar in the futuristicness.
Ooh, we're coming from the past to the future.
Absolutely. I forgot to hit record on the audio, but that's okay. We'll just take it. It'll just be funky at the first couple minutes. Anyways, no, we're taking a minute here because I thought it'd be interesting to kind of touch base on like how I literally I'm packing everything and doing the checklist and making sure everything's in order. So they have everything for RWA this weekend and what we have and everything. So we have so I wanted to talk about that. And I was like, Dave, AMA me about anything, right? About traveling for SAE, at least in advance of what we're doing. And the thing that's different is we're going to Aero Design West, and we are going to be live streaming for the first time. And it's a light live stream, actually. It's a, we're just going to have a camera and a live view and a little mechanism to be able to do a little bit of graphics, right? So there's, it's really light. But there's still a lot of stuff we need to bring to make sure like we have everything in line because we're doing that, still doing the highlights. So you got to make sure you have everything for the interviews, for the stream, for all that kind of stuff, and just kind of making extra sure that you do have everything. Having an extra tripod because now it's like an extra person's worth of doing things. We have a third person to do this, and then we're teaching somebody, actually Missy to do all this so that she can go and take this and do it in Texas next month because we're going to be in Arizona because we're live streaming that, and that's going to be even bigger for the stuff that we're going to bring. And then we're going to do Michigan, and thankfully we get to drive all of our core stuff out there and be able to do it. So this is the kind of interesting problems we're trying to solve here. One of the interesting problems, because of course we're going to California, and we're like, well, you got to go to Disney if you're in California. We always give ourselves a couple days to be able to do this kind of thing. Let's take advantage of this. Let's make the most of it. And, then it's not expensive to go to Disney. And as you actually as we're talking to you now, I'm probably getting ready to go to Disneyland for Star Wars night, which we did last year back in April. I guess it was April that we did this because I think it was after WrestleMania that we ended. No, that's not right. When did we do that now? I'm not even sure.
No, because Mania wasn't
after
out
after WrestleMania, we went to Universal. Disneyland, we went. It was after we did West last year, which would have been about the same time of year. So one of the things to solve is because I couldn't figure out how to take my lightsaber out there. She ended up buying one at Star Wars and doing the whole experience of creating your own. So we're like, how do we ship these out here? It doesn't fit in any of our gear. So if I go to camera 2 here, you can see we got a gun case today. And it was one of those like, hey, you'll fit the lightsabers, but I'm pretty sure I can probably pack some other gear in this too. So it's like, it's going to be, beneficial. This is not just a Disney travel case. Although, come on, right? I'm afraid to open it because the way they packed it. So this is about a 40-some inch gun case.
So it's all packed up and ready to go.
Now. It's packed up, and I don't want to like.
Oh no. So we all know once you get something packed,
you don't mess around. You don't mess, especially when you do it just kind of haphazardly on a podcast like this. So it's pretty like it's about almost my height sitting at least. So this is TSA, it says TSA certified and all that kind of stuff. They're gonna think I have. They also ask me if I have weapons anytime I turn in any of my hardware, my Pelican cases and things like that. Yeah. So kind of nothing new, but it'll be funny to just have a real gun case and like, what do you got in there? And I just have to say, lightsabers, sir. So there you go.
I mean, I'm sure they've heard weirder things.
Oh, I'm sure.
They've had to. I mean,
I see
it would be
skis all the
great to
time.
have,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it exists or not, but you would have to get the right person and security clearance.
Mhm.
But weird stories of the TSA.
And I think you can check a gun to take with you, check it like it's stowed and everything. You can't bring it with you, obviously.
Okay,
But,
No, so you're not. Yeah, you're putting
Yeah.
it in the hold.
Well, yeah, I think so. I
Yeah,
think
you can put it in the
so.
hold, I
Yeah.
believe. But yeah, you definitely cannot. Pre 9/11, you could, I believe, bring a gun.
Right. Those were some different
Things
days.
were weird. Things for the younger people, things were a lot looser before 9/11.
Yeah. So
We could keep our shoes on.
So the other thing I'm trying to solve here is the, how do I bring all this gear to make sure I don't forget anything? And we now have 3 of these cases. I've had one since last travel season. These, Pelican cases are the standard. These Maja ones are a little cheaper and get the job done, right? So we've been going with them for the time being. They save about $200 a case, and they've been lasting, well enough. And they're a good size case. And if you see me on any kind of gigs or anything, you see me rolling this thing around. It's easy, it's on wheels. I'm actually trying to move most of our containers to this for our gear, so that it's easier for us to even come into venues with something like this. So kind of a little bit bigger than luggage style and everything. So that's kind of the idea there, and it's got all the inserts, and we were forming it. So the biggest thing is Kevin. I probably maybe wouldn't have had to do 2 of them, except that one of them, there was 2 things that are happening. One, I'm bringing a switcher, a brand new switcher. I think I showed it on Patreon. It's a good size, so I'm packing that in as a backup, because the online mechanism we're looking to do graphics, I'm afraid won't work, because we had we set it up with Live View Solo with these Livestream tools, and you can put like simple graphics up, and it does some other features too. Like if it has like a we'll be right back screen you can put up if like the connection severs. So we set it up like the day of. It was literally like, hey, we want to try to do this for this campaign rally thing, and I was like, well, you could do it this way or this way, and we're like doing this. I'm like, well, I need to test this for this event anyways. So Missy spent all day setting it up, went to the event, and then the button wouldn't work, and it was like, okay, and I tried it like a few days later, it works fine, and I was like, that's weird. I don't like that. I now don't trust it. So I need to bring more hardware just in case.
So. And you hate to say it, but you have to think. And like you said, for business, you can't just go out and get something easy.
No. I can't.
You're at an airfield.
This is
you're probably not near.
I'm in Los Angeles. I'm around stuff. If there's anywhere I'm going to get it other than New York City, probably somewhere in Los Angeles I can get some of this gear. I don't know where. I know I could go to B&H. The stuff that we get for production is not something you can get off the shelf. They don't sell at Best Buy. They don't sell anything with SDI at Best Buy. That's prosumer, professional level stuff. So and it's not like, it's a $1,200 or $1,400 switcher that we're bringing with us, and it's even like, I didn't want to bring the one that we use here is what I usually bring for this, because it's going to be a long thing, and using SDI, it's like that coaxial that locks in. And and you want to, like, it's more reliable than using HDMI. I've had problems with HDMI in the past. The camera's going to be moving a lot because it's going to be following planes all day at Aero Design. So I wanted to kind of solve those problems a little bit as we go here. So that was the big thing. That was a big solve that we wanted to do for that. And then I was like, kind of thinking, I was like, man, if I do audio, man, I don't want to do a right left if I'm doing 2 channels. I threw a Zoom H6 in there, and I was like, we'll see how that looks and everything like that. So it was a lot of that kind of situation, right? So. And then even, I mentioned there was the what do you call it? The ATEM Express. This is like a full featured but physical key switcher versus we usually get the racks and use a laptop for these things. But again, it's hard to take a rack on that thing. So this is what we're taking for this. Again, this is like an 8 input situation, but we're we're level, we want the, some options on this thing. So that was the biggest thing that we had to solve for. So we're doing that, and I love this idea. There's like one of the samples they give is like this production thing in the back,
in the back of a car, back of an SUV. Yeah,
and that just reminded me something I need to grab for something like this. So, anyways, because I'm like, oh wait, I need adapters if I need to do something with this. So, but that's kind of par for the course for something like this. So let me just take a quick note here.
Let me ask you something while you're doing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have an extensive checklist? Like either like in a notes app or somewhere else saying,
oh yep
okay,
I was literally looking at it.
I have this. Okay. Because I could just imagine trying to do this off of memory.
Oh yeah, that's impossible, and that's where you get trapped. But and there is a point where, like, especially when I'm packing for multiple things, it was like, okay, this is what's needed for this is what's needed for this, and you try to update those lists as you go. So that is something that we've been implementing. And it's like, okay, here's a notes app. I'm like, okay, what was I packing a year ago? When last time I did this, and there I went and found the SAE pack list for 2024, put a 25 on it, and said, okay, we're gonna update this and refresh it. Okay, we do this now, we do this now, we do this now. And that's been hey, I want to start bringing this on a trip. It goes on the list, right? So that's kind of how we manage that. Also, of course, this is becoming so much bigger because it's a big list for the streaming, situation, and where if we're getting in the car, it's just going to be, I'm going to throw everything in the car that could possibly be needed for this thing. All the big things are in there. Things are kind of packed and go to shows by default anyways. Like, oh, these things are always in here, so let's just bring them here. Oh, these things are in here, these are things here. Is this show mostly like what we do for wrestling? When it comes to the formula and Baja, yes, we have commentators, much like we were going to have for professional wrestling, right? Like things like that. So that's the kind of thing that we are solving for, and I think that's a really cool thing. And now I'm in the back of my head, I'm thinking, man, I wish we I'm sending the wireless with RWA, and now I kind of wish I was bringing one with me because it would be great to throw a TV. That's been one of the great things too that I've been loving. I may have mentioned on here these Hollyland wireless devices. So we have a Pyro we were playing with. One of the guys had one, or maybe I had one by the time we were streaming stuff last year. Or actually, I think our friends from Brazil had one, and we've been using them to get a signal across, like Michigan International Speedway, and things like that. So you'll get something like this, and this is actually the newest one that we picked up. It's the Cosmo C2. The Cosmo is what we were looking for when we were doing MMA. And our friend Dan Sweeney, that does some great stuff with us with wrestling and 880 wrestling. He's a Steadicam operator with 247 Fighting Championship MMA. And he has the older version of this, or somebody, I forgot who it belongs to. But the idea is, he's able to have that rig and walk around with a pretty strong signal. It's not perfect. It's absolutely, if you're a pure video file on this thing, it is not the perfect signal, but the lip sync is good. Whereas the Pyros, you can notice it. We were doing some wrestling shows with it. We're like, it's not, it's close, but it's not there. We're trying to see, if we could just kind of roll with that. And that wasn't the case. This is nice because it was like, because I'm like, well, I got to buy 2 of these. And then this thing just came out because I noticed the other one dropped in price. And then this one just came out, and the Hollyland Cosmo C2, it's, you got 2 transmitters. So those go on the cameras, and then you have 1 receiver. And then, it splits out to HDMI or SDI, and then you have to individually pull those out and into your switcher if you're using it that way. But also then I have the Pyro, which I don't really want to use for video anymore, unless it is something that I don't have to worry about syncing across audio, right? That's a problem. Okay. When audio source is coming from a different place from the camera, you have a problem with syncing that. The Pyro is going to be fine when we do the International Speedway, right? Because we know that's going to work out. We know that the rooms, we're not worried about a hit or people talking on camera or anything like that, right? And even if we were, if they're talking into the camera, it would have been fine. So this kind of solves that problem. This has like a 3,000 foot radius. It's usually like 1,000 or 1,200 for the other units that we were looking at, which is, way more than we need. Like 1,000 feet was like, it was maybe getting sketchy at the end of 1,000 feet or 800 feet or whatever it was in the Speedway. And we set it up in the middle, so it's kind of nice.
Let's say, so 3,000 feet radius, you're talking basically a mile across.
Yeah. So we could go for a mile. Don't try, but it works really good when you're in a wrestling venue and they go outside on the street. That works great. So we're good with that, you know.
Which apparently happens very often in 880.
Well, this is the first time we went outside on last Thursday night, actually. So, and then Friday or Saturday night for the Painted Black show that we Muppetized the poster last week on the show here. But anyway, so that's kind of the idea there. And well, the wireless, those aren't coming with us. We're going to have a live view. We'll have a camera. We have the lower end Panasonic amazingly has a better zoom. So that's what we're going to do the live stream with. So we can follow the cameras a little better and everything like that. It's just a lot easier to follow with that camera for some reason, which is amazing, you know, because it's like half the price, half the spec of the other camera, but looks great when you're in daylight and everything like that, right? So
like you said, zoom is a different animal
absolutely
too. When you get to optical zoom,
yeah,
it's something. It's just different versus
and it's something where the screen is better. Like the screen is a nice bigger screen you can follow on. I'm going to bring the screen that goes on top of it as well, and I need an adapter for that. I'm glad going through this because this is helping me add to my checklist since I'm doing a lot of different things this time, right? Because I'm going to show up there like, oh, there's
getting your dongle list together.
Yeah, I'm getting my dongle list together. Yeah. So I was like, I got to pull that from the wireless, do that thing, you know. So this is just a warm up for the trip. So, and we'll see what's going on. And then the whole idea is to make sure you have everything to the point where, like, I'm like that overpacker. Well, I can't forget anything, you know, when you're going like on vacation or something. Like that's kind of the same mindset, but it's like for a real thing. Because the most embarrassing thing is you get out there ready to set something up, and you're just like, the cord. We don't have a cord to attach this, and this isn't something I can get right now, and we have to interview this person right now. Oh no, you know, like that's the kind of thing that that you know that is concerning. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we're dealing with here. So and but it's really interesting, and also it's like I took a picture when I realized where I was going with this, and I sent it to Missy and Kitty who are going on the trip with me. I was like, this is a 2-case job, guys. So and again, the biggest thing I think I started to say that one of the reasons maybe I wouldn't stretch all the way to 2 cases, but we are also, I do not foresee using it, but my role now when I'm doing something that's a live stream, and I'm, you know, traveling and everything like that, and I'm going to be out in the field, it shouldn't be a problem, of course, being in the middle of Los Angeles, Van Nuys, California, we're in the middle of everything, right? But I bring the Starlink with me wherever I go when it comes to this level of jobs. Is something weird with the internet? Oh, is AT&T having an outage? Well, you know, let's send it to the sky. And
you would think that somewhere like Los Angeles, it should be better.
Absolutely.
And it probably is.
And
but
it is. Yeah.
You also have a high concentration of people.
Absolutely. And now I don't think there's enough people at the event. There's maybe like 70, 80 teams or something like that of like, 5 to 20 students, let's say, right?
Yeah.
That's still not a concentration that shouldn't be an issue. You're in this kind of park, Central Parkish issue, green space, deal, just down from the Van Nuys Airport, so you're in a pretty covered area. We never had problems with it. But people started bringing Starlink, but hey, bring a little bit more. There may be a Starlink there that I'll just hop on a Wi-Fi, and use a cup of their internet. But also like, our friends at DES, Mike Zeman and them that do scoring, they're bringing them. Sponsors will bring them. Starlink, SpaceX will actually show up and have one out for people to use. So we, it was the backbone of what we did when we did the Formula setup, which is in the middle of Speedway, the International Speedway. So, we're in the middle of a big field that I don't even know if they would have Wi-Fi out there. And what would we plug into? We're beside a convenience store in the middle of the field for the RVs that park out there. So at least like we have, but they still give us a generator to run everything. I feel like weird that we're running our stuff and they just had this giant Caterpillar generator, like the ones that you have to trailer in kind of deals. And we're just like, this is far more than what we need, but thank you. But that's how they run. They're like, oh, you need to run production. Boom, and I've seen ones where it was, when Myrtle Beach, I did an MMA show and they had a whole lighting rig and it's in the middle of this like athletic complex. So it's just a giant multi-basketball court area, right? And there was a generator outside. They're like, you're not running out of the internal power to do these lights, right? You have to bring your own generator. And they brought it was a lot of big pro stuff. And I'm just like, then there's just me with my little setup, for video. I'm just like, all right, buddy, and then the stuff didn't work. They got 2 matches in, and then the board went out. They had to replace the board, and they went all afternoon programming. I couldn't run all my stuff because I'm waiting for this guy to finish programming his stuff to run the rest of my chords and then to like color balance everything. And it's just me. I don't even know who my video people were that night. And they show up an hour before the thing, and hopefully I have things set up by myself, right? So I don't know how we ran those things. Those are a terrible idea. One person should not be doing this entire setup. So anyways, but yeah, so those are the kind of things we're solving. But that'll be on. I'm seeing if it'll be on the SAE University Programs YouTube page. It's not going to be fancy. It's one camera following planes. I'm going to try to see if we can tie into. I have to see kind of where we land on volunteers and who's doing what. But sometimes they have some really good announcers that are explaining to the crowd that's there, like the parents and things that come out and other RC flyers and things. Like they'll kind of explain what's going on, you know, what the class is and everything like that. So I was like, listen, like we don't need an announcer or anything like that. Just let me patch into your PA system. And then there's at least some semblance of a communication of what's going on. We're not going to be able to put up graphics of this is an advanced class or anything like that. We just, because the whole thing was sold on this is the minimal I can do. This is how much more it's going to cost you. And, you know, here we are. So versus we're doing like more of a production when it comes to Baja and Formula. So, but again, you know, my friends from Brazil really kind of set that kind of tone for things. So, but yeah, that's the kind of stuff we're dealing with here. It's going to be a big week, and it just, you know, rolling everything together because you still got to get all the rest of the stuff done too. You know, you know, it's like, oh, yeah, bringing projects with me and consolidating them onto a drive and make sure I have everything I need when somebody's like, hey, can we fix this? Because there's some videos that are needed for a conference next week, and there's been some, you know, some development on that and everything like that. And, you know, timelines turn into timelines, you know, on any project, you know, as you expect. So, and also there's just you know, you look at the calendar and don't realize where things land. I was like, oh wait, that's due the day I'm flying. I should probably do that now. So truncate. This is like, you ever like, you know, this always happened to me. I always felt like vacation days were worthless, because I always had to do twice the work and overtime that I didn't get paid for because I was salary and not paid well in salary, just to take that week off, which means everybody's still going to call me about and ask where things are the entire time. So I'm like, well, what's the damn point of me taking time off? You know, like this is not helpful for me, you know, in this kind of environment.
When I was in customer service, I had the exact same thing where if I took time, and I'm trying to think, I don't think while I was in customer service, I took a whole week off at once. You know, I took bits and pieces here and there. But if I did, I would have had to bring my laptop because I was primary first support for a particular database. And I had people backing me up, but they could handle most of what I did, but not all of it. Plus, they would have to do it on top of what they normally do.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it would.
Yeah. That's a, you know, we always talk about 60% work when we schedule these things. You know, we like, why do you need 3 people? You have this and this. I was like, well, one person standing the entire day for 9 hours following planes go back and forth is a nightmare. You know, having we have 3 cameras at the other event, and I was like, cool, I'm going to hire 4 video operators because your event is 8 or 9 hours.
Yeah.
No. And we tried doing volunteers and did not have backup for them last year, and they would disappear. So it's like, we are going to hire these people that are responsible to be here and have a backup so that we have some flexibility, you know? So like, that makes sense, you know? So and I think businesses don't do this is you have exactly what you need and everybody handles it, and we'll fire some people and, you know, lay off some people and everybody picks up the slack. But then everybody's running at like 80%, 110% trying to keep up. And like one person gets sick and the whole thing, like this is like when the job I was talking about, it was a production cycle. You had a monthly product that we had to pull together. And hey, I'm responsible for doing this, and this product, but I'm going to take a week off this month, guys. Good luck. Somebody has to do it, you know, and I can't get things done in advance because the footage hasn't come in. because everything is month to month. I'm waiting for the script. I'm waiting on the footage. I'm waiting for the approvals, from the client, and it never made sense. It's like, okay, we're going to get this done early. Great. And then your client's going to call you the day before you're going on vacation and tell you everything that's wrong with it, and that you never would have seen, So this is the kind of stuff that happens, right? So and I'm sure there's things I could have done to not be as piled on here, because I'm deciding to do a pre-record for a bunch of stuff, right? So it's just that time management is so interesting, and I'm definitely not organized enough to figure it all out. But also, just like it's an interesting conundrum, isn't it? Because you're like, well, I have to have enough clients to support things, and then I have these clients that are really good that have a timely thing. No client, you can't expect your client to presume that you have other clients. You know what I mean? It's just like a focus, like, hey, I need this thing now, and you're like, well, yep, now I'm going to figure it out, because that's why I'm in the position I am and working with the people I work with, right? You figure it the hell out. So, and you prioritize, and you eventually get pretty good at that. So hopefully.
And it takes time. Like I said, it takes time. It takes practice, and it takes failing a few times.
Oh yeah. Trust me, we've had some fails. Okay,
I did this. It didn't work. Don't do that in the future. But you don't know not to do it until you do it, and stuff doesn't work.
Yep, exactly. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing we deal with here. So, looking forward to it. Looking forward to get out to California. It doesn't look like it's going to monsoon like it did last year, from the looks of things. And we're gonna have some fun with it. We're gonna have some fun afterwards. We're gonna pull off a big job, and we're gonna celebrate after. That's the thing that I'm really pushing on this year, is I want to make sure when we pull off these big jobs that we're like, I feel like I need to be the coach that takes the little league team out for pizza after a good game, because there's going to be a lot of people I'm managing on this thing, and holding them up in Airbnbs and things like that. And then it's going to be like, okay, kids, let's go celebrate, So, I want to see, don't tell anybody. I don't think they watch. I want to see about taking my staff for the last Formula of the Year to like Cedar Point or something. Like, I don't know if it'll make sense. I don't know if it's a thing, but but it's just like,
it's on its way back.
It's on the way back. I don't know.
Driving wise, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every time I'm like, why don't I go to Cedar Point on the way back from these Michigan events? And it's just like, well, you're doing it in fall, you're doing it in early spring. Like, it wouldn't even work, right? They're not open Mondays, or whatever. So, but yeah, that's the kind of thing happening there. So,
and I just checked the weather for next week for Van Nuys, and it looks like you're going to have perfect California weather. Good. Monday 77, partly cloudy. Tuesday 80.
Oh, we're looking at
and 85.
We're looking at Friday through Sunday for the event itself, and then and then we're looking at Anaheim for Monday and Tuesday for our Disney ventures. So
yeah.
Yep, but that's all good. That's all good. So no, really fortunate the opportunities I have here. But my clients are really good and get me to go to other places in the country. And hell, I went to California a month ago and had timing was amazing. That was like, oh, there's a pay-per-view in town. Oh, hey, we're finishing this by what time? Okay, let's go. And I just finished one of the videos from that trip today. I think it's near final cut, if not the final cut for this video that hopefully you'll see next week with the SAE SoCal chapter. It's one of my I like finished it and finally, like, because you're in preview and there's a lot of stuff that's like high end, and so it's like kind of skippy as you're doing the preview watch. I rendered it, watched it, and I kind of fist pumped a little bit because I'm like, this looks awesome. So I've learned a lot of things from our friends like Scotty Swimba and stuff over the last year that really kind of bumped that look up a little bit. So but anyways, about 50% shot on iPhone, by the way. Shot on iPhone, by the way. This is my best camera, it seems, half the time. So but yeah, I mean, there's this
dear Tim Apple. I'm Tim Apple.
I'm the Tim Apple of video production. So no, and literally it's like, yes, I have stuff that I don't know if I did talk about. That was the weekend that I was shooting stuff on my phone in ProRes with a attached drive. Okay. So I should have bought a second hard drive to do it this time too, but let's go. You know what? I might Amazon something. But anyways, yeah. So like, and that was really nice. And the way that we're kind of doing hard drives now, it's like I'm not like I'm getting enough hard drives. Let's put it this way, that I'm not like, oh man, where am I going to put this project? It was like, oh no, you need to do this, this, and this, and then you're just going to be covered. And now I'm just going to have even more hard drives, unfortunately. So I really need. I actually have a proposal for a server situation for footage that I need to finish, but you know how it is. You know how it is. But it's always busy, and I'm gonna hit the ground running when I come back next week too. So it'll be a blast. I love this stuff. So we've been talking for too long. We've been on the half an hour here, and you've been just yeah. Anything else? I don't know if Riz has popped in yet because we're doing something with him after this.
He is.
So Riz, you got anything?
Riz actually been here the whole time.
Riz
been here the whole time.
Riz, are you? We kind of had Dave kind of AMAing this thing a little bit. You got anything you want to add to this? What you've been hearing here from this traveling?
You
heard about the wireless you're going to work with this weekend?
Yeah, I heard about the wireless. That's going to be interesting.
They're simple. They're pretty easy. Just take care of them. Make sure you put the antennas on and take care of them.
It's not my job, Sorg.
But I'm also sending the cords just in case. So this is a pre-meeting for the production. And by the time you catch this, the productions have already happened. So you'll know how they went.
Next week, I mean, the week after next, if you see me like disheveled and crying, you'll know it went well.
That's, you know, and that's how you learn. That's how you learn. That is, and I listen to the pros, and they're just like, you got to have like, did you, like, if you like everything fell apart and you learn to handle it, kind of thing. So, and also like, I think it's really important too, because I don't know how many times like, man, we really screwed this up. Da 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 da. I was like, yeah, but does the audience know? No, because we fucking handled it in the moment, you know, and that's what we do. So that's what we're good at, right, Riz?
I'm just here. Just do things.
Did you say you had an awesome thing of
I
some sort?
did.
Yes.
Because we are taping this today on Wednesday.
This is April 2nd that we were recording this.
April 2nd. And of course, this morning, bright and early at 9:45 a.m. ish, Nintendo had an announcement. They did a whole live event featuring the new Switch 2. That's a lot bigger than the Switch. Has magnets instead of the little clicky things for the Joy-Cons.
Ooh, magnets.
The Joy-Cons are actually now mice, like little mouses. Mouse. They showed a video game of what looks to be more like a version of Rocket League, but in wheelchairs.
Okay.
It was very interesting.
Okay.
We got new announcements for video games. Mario Kart World looks amazing. It's open world Mario Kart.
No.
It has, not only are you going to play like the regular Mario characters like Mario, Luigi, blah blah blah, Waluigi, also they're all customizable. There's also playable for the first time ever is the Moo Moo Farm Cow and the penguin from the Ice World for Mario.
Nice.
You have that at the very end of the show. No, it wasn't the end of the show. It was the end of their third-party presentation. They announced a game by From Software. It was very Bloodborne-y, very Bloodborne-like. If you haven't played Bloodborne, it's Dark Souls with a lot of blood. And when I was watching it, it was very much in line with Bloodborne, but also Castlevania.
Mm-hmm.
But also but also they weren't showing a lot of blood. But in that case, they announced this game, and for the life of me, I don't remember what the game is. But it's from Software, and it's only going to be on Nintendo. It's a Nintendo exclusive game.
Nice.
Like a Dark Souls Nintendo.
It's the Dusk Bloods?
The Dusk Bloods.
Mm-hmm.
And see how, like, if you look at that, like, scroll back up for a minute. If you look at that, you're like, oh my gosh, that's like Simon Belmont or something. Also, go back up for a minute. You see that thing on his back?
Mm-hmm.
That's a jetpack.
Yeah, had me a jetpack.
Yep.
Fantastic.
It's a steampunky, vampire-y game that's awesome. This is one of the first release Nintendo releases I feel that hasn't had like a. And during the show, I'm like, where's the Zelda? I mean, well, they do have Dynasty Warriors 2, or not Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors 2 coming out as well, which is my favorite of the games from the Wii U. That's a weird sentence to say. But we have that, but also no main Mario like platformer. We have Mario Kart.
Still got Mario Kart. That's not the first time they've done
that. We have a weird Mario Jamboree, which, by the way, now there is almost like a light post of a camera that it can be used during the game, which is interesting.
Okay.
But also at the very end, they announced Kirby Riders. I believe I was in that. This is a second installment of the game.
Okay.
It's a Kirby racing game.
Nice.
So they bookmarked both the beginning and end of their show with a racing game. Yes.
It's going to be like Diddy Kong Racing kind of like level.
It did look very Diddy Kong-y.
Okay.
Oh, you might like this one. They announced that a new, you know how they always have like the N64, Super Nintendo, Nintendo games all coming out on like one giant conglomerate in the shop, where they have like they're doing that again with GameCube.
Nice.
All GameCube games are going to be in the store. Well, in that patch. So
is this the Nintendo Online thing that they had before that included all those? So you subscribe to that and you'll get GameCube games now as part of it.
Yes.
Nice. GameCube's awesome.
It's also price point is kind of.
I see about $450.
$450. LCD screen, not OLED. But this is where I think the price point's effective. It's coming in at 1080p. It's coming in at a lot of FPSs. I forget what the actual total is. It can run up to, I believe, 120.
Okay, and then I think the mobile was like 720 before, if I recall. So Riz is having an issue. There you go. He's back. There you go. Yeah, I say the original was 720, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And like this is when you were docking, when you were actually putting it in the docking station, which as well, and they actually specified this in their intro to the gaming system. They're like, the docking station now has an internal fan, so it doesn't like overheat. and it runs on like apparently it runs on nothing, and it runs that fast. Storage is kind of still iffy, a little bit more than the Switch, but who knows? But again, I'm interested in seeing where this is going. I don't really want to pay $70 for. I mean, we're still paying $70 for a video game anyway, so it's fine. It's probably going to be worse in the future. But anyways, that was my awesome thing of the week. I kind of just wanted to throw that out there.
And we'll see when this comes out where we're at with things as well. I'm sure there'll be more information. Podnar, you got an awesome thing here, and before we check out,
I really don't know.
Okay, no problem. But thank you for hanging, man. No, this is really cool. Thank you guys. We're doing a quick awesome cast here. We go in 40 minutes ish. So, but Dave Podnar, iPhoneography podcast.
Yep, Prof Pod pretty much everywhere on the internet.
And Riz plays games and is proprietor of Mayhem Mania these days on Wrestling Mayhem Show.
I do things.
You do
stuff.
I'm at Sorgatron. I will probably have had some stuff out on social media for my weekend in Los Angeles, greater Los Angeles area. So please go check out Sorgatron on all the social medias and anything else going on. And thank you, everybody. You have been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.
I'm Eamon.
I'm Merlin.
And we're a gay.
And his NB.
Are you a reality television connoisseur?
Do you like it discussed from an LGBTQ lens?
If so, A Gay and His NB is the podcast for you.
Hear us break down all your favorite guilty pleasure reality shows from Bravo, Drag Race, and just about everything in between.
Listen to A Gay and His NB on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.